Hello everyone, and I just played This Flight Tonight, or my interpretation of it. There's a few liberties that I did take from the Joni Mitchell version, and those were mostly because talent, a little bit I'm not Joni Mitchell, and a little for logistic reasons of what I need for tuning and guitar and so on. The first obvious thing is the tuning. I use a straight open G kind of tuning, which is similar but not quite exactly the same as what Joni Mitchell did. And the reason I do that is so I don't have to carry a lot of guitars and tune guitar every time I play a song. I can use this guitar for other songs that are in that same tuning or similar to it with slight adjustments. And I don't have to retune the guitar every song or have a million of them. Another is that she plays in A flat. So all I did was put a capo up and all my G's became A flats. Again, this tuning, leaving it in G, allows me to do songs in open G, open A flat, and open A, and maybe even a few other situations without having to retune the guitar all the time, again and again and again. The tuning is D, G, D again, G again, B as in boy, and another D. And if we kind of examine this tuning a little bit, we'll see that strings 4, 3, and 2 are actually the same tuning as a regular standard tuning. So you can actually use them to help you tune and fine-tune little things. Basically, the two E strings that are usually tuned to an E move a step down to a D, and you can compare them to the fourth string. To make sure you're close enough. And the fifth string moves down from an A to a G. And again, you can compare it to the third string and make sure you're reasonably close enough, or the guitar jingles nice and pretty for the song to go. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate what I do, and again, it's all based on the Joni Mitchell tuning, but I'm going to do it in open G. She does it in open A in A flat. Like I said, all you need to do is put a capo at the first fret to match her, and obviously move all the shapes one fret up. The verse, or the intro, I should say. Starts with these two simple chord shapes. I got my pinky on the first string 5th fret, my ring finger on the 3rd string 5th fret, and my pointer finger on the 2nd string 3rd fret. And then all I'm going to do is just move the same chord shape down 2 step or 2 frets. This is a sort of a G sus sound. This becomes an F sus sound over a G bottom, however you want to call this. A lot of G blah 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 to a D to an F blah blah blah, basically. The verse starts the same way as the intro, on the same kind of chords, they just stay on them a little less time. So I'm starting with that same pattern. Moving to this, I got my pointer finger back on the 2nd string 3rd fret, my ring finger on the 4th string 5th fret, and I'm moving those two fingers again, step back down to 1st fret and 3rd fret. The timing of it is kind of depends on how you phrase the lyrics. You want to listen to the original and get a feel for that, and you can actually play around with it a little bit. I'm not matching it exactly perfectly. I just kind of go on feel, instincts, and what I like hearing at that particular moment. Notice how I like to slide to that shape, but it's really not necessary if it makes it too difficult for you. We're going to go to a C chord. The C chord is really your pointer finger on the 5th fret, barring all across, all the way. And one thing you may notice, I use different fingers for it, mostly because I'm too lazy and too weak to keep it the same finger all the time. I'll do this, or the ring finger, sorry, the middle finger, or the ring finger. The key is to really press the strings all the time. When I use my pointer finger, one of the things I use to help me out is the middle finger pressing on top the pointer finger, and again I'm squeezing with the thumb at the back of the neck. On this particular case, that slide is kind of crucial. It's a very signature, very prominent. And again, you can do that with your middle finger. I notice that when I do it with my middle finger or the ring finger, I bring the thumb up so I can actually press with the back of the neck with this part of the hand with the ring finger, and I can kind of help with the thumb even a little bit on top of the middle finger. It works for me also on the ring finger as well, but not on the pointer finger. So on the pointer finger I do this. Notice how my hand actually moves. My wrists move forward further underneath the neck, whereas with the middle finger I got my wrist up here. Really doesn't matter as long as you get that note, that all those notes ringing loud and clear. So I resolve it to some open strings all the way to G, so it's safe, it's going to sound good. That little ornamentation that I do, if I sing the song and I forget the lyrics of what the next verse is or something like that, or if I need to catch a breath, or if somebody in the audience is heckling me or something and I need to heckle back, I can just stay on that chord and do a little. And I'm kind of staying on the chord. I'm doing basically the Keith Richard lick, where I'm adding my pointer finger on the on the second string, 1st fret, and my middle finger on the 4th string, 2nd fret. I'm noodling in between those two chords just to kind of kill time a little bit. The chorus has some similar things happening with slight variations and as a result different textures. If we take that chorus, starts on this chord. It's a sort of a D7 kind of shape with my ring finger on the 1st string, 4th fret, my index on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, my middle on the 3rd string, 4th fret. You know, it's almost like this guy, but 1 fret apart rather than 2 frets. And because the frets are so close, it's easier for me to do it with these 2 fingers rather than these 2. But this is a totally legitimate way to do it if it helps you remember what you're supposed to do. And again, I move that same chord 2 frets back. I'm topping this off a little bit by I can either stay on this guy, this even or shape, or move the middle finger to the fourth string and do those accenting, which actually happens along with the lyrics. And I open it up to an open G, just take off all my fingers. Or notice that all three times I move to this chord in a different spot. I'm doing it on feel and instinct, and I'm taking some liberties there. And we repeat that line twice. This little ornamentation riff happens at the end of the chorus to sort of set up again, going back to the verse. And again, built on classic Keith Richards kind of moves. I'm starting with that same phrase that I showed you earlier, pointer on the second string first fret, middle on the fourth string second fret. But then I'm going to move the middle finger to the third string second fret and slide that up 2 frets. You can do it technically keep it on the fourth fret, but I think that'll create too weird of a texture for this song, but you can try it for other things. Maybe it works. Up to you. Reinterpret the song as you feel. And that's the chorus. So here it is all together. Just for fun, I'll show you one reinterpretation that's possible to do with this, which I kind of enjoy doing, which is play these acoustic chords along with the Nazareth version of the song. The key ingredient different between the two versions is the groove. That the Nazareth version, which is, by the way, one of the highly underrated cover versions of any song ever, has that galloping bass. So these kind of strum is doesn't work well with it. So you might want to just do less complicated strums or less strums altogether. That kind of stuff. Notice that I can just strum basic down ups at a slower tempo. That way I don't collide too much with that galloping bass line happens. And concept stays the same. The chords are basically the same. This is one liberty that I find more fitting for this situation, whereas these two chords on the second and fourth string, I reverse them. I go this guy, pointer on the second string first fret, ring on the fourth string third fret, and slide that up. That on the Joni Mitchell, these are reversed. That slide stays the same. On the chorus, same thing happens, again, with slight modifications to fit their arrangement of what they did. And again, that galloping bass is still there, so I'm making sure I'm staying out of the way and not colliding with it. This is where there's going to be a slight difference happening, because they end the phrase, the chorus is on a sort of an F to a F C run. So what I'm doing is, and what it is, it's sort of an F chord, pointer on the second string first fret, middle on the third string second fret, ring on the fourth string third fret, and I'm adding the pinky on the first string third fret to kind of compensate for that tuning. So I got, this is basically an F chord. This is my C. I think we kind of stumbled onto this a little earlier. Pointer on the second string first fret, middle on the fourth string second fret, and I'm adding the ring finger on the first string second fret, again to compensate for that open string, the retuned string. And if you want, and you coordinate this with your bass players and the rest of the band, while on the Nazareth version where there's a... So let's talk about the chorus, and I'm taking a little more liberties when I do that little thing. I start the same way, and again, the key thing is to make sure you don't collide and don't run into the groove that the bass is providing. So, starting same chords, exactly the same. That D7 shape at the third fret, moving to that first fret, moving my middle finger up one string to the fourth string second fret. And this is really a C chord. Going back to that, into an open strings altogether. Repeat. Oops. There, at the end of the chorus, what Nazareth do, they do a sort of an F-C kind of run, trying to emulate that on this tuning. They do it in standard, so I have to make my part fit to that, and so what I'm doing is this. This is basically an F chord. It looks like a regular F, pointer on the second string first, middle on the third string second, ring finger on the fourth string third fret, and I'm adding the pinky on the first string third fret to compensate for that retuned string. Back to the C chord, which we had earlier at the beginning of the chorus. Ring on the first string 2, pointer on the second string 1, middle on the fourth string 2. And if you want, on the Nazareth version, they do a little feedback kind of solo on this section where you can fit in that acoustic riff from the Joni Mitchell version. And there you have it. One point to kind of pay attention to if you're doing the Nazareth or playing along with the Nazareth version is that little segment where they go Goodbye, baby, baby, goodbye. They actually go away from the galloping reel. You're gonna strum more or less the same way. Keep the as the rest of the band. Just watch the timing over there. See, this is yeah, and also adding these little strums every now and then on at the end of sections. That's a very good place there at the end of that section. I'm sort of slowly dragging the pick. I'm kind of across the strings in upward motion. You really want to bring it back here. It forces you to do it physically different, and gives you the sound. It's a lot harder to do here. Here you want to it's a lot easier to raise your hand and not do that drag. Plus you get a bitey kind of effect right here by the bridge. And there you have it. Enjoy. Okay, so kind of, sort of, but not quite. Longing in their hearts. The general key ingredients are there, and you can adjust them to your version and your interpretation of the song any way you want. Again, I'm in open G tuning, but I got the capo on the second fret. Open G, D, G, D, G, B, D. I got the capo on the second fret to make the song in A, which is the key that Ray plays it in. Um, General fingerings are there. There's slight modifications. Some of them are for various reasons, but I'll go through them and you can readjust them and figure them out on your own. There are a couple of sections here in the song, so I will try to go through all of them and guide you through them. Let's go over the various sections in the song, and I'm going to do this in open G. And then all you got to do is, if you want to sing it in A like Bonnie Ray does, put a capo on the second fret and move everything 2 frets up, just like I did in the video demo that I did a minute ago. And I'm doing this so it's all relevant to the open string. So you don't see me saying 5th fret and then I'm at the 7th and there's no confusion. That opening lick. This is built on 6, which kind of define what the chord is, played against the open string, which gives the cool little waterfall kind of texture, if you want to call it that. That's how I call it. And I'm starting, this is the fingering I like, my middle finger on the 4th string 5th fret, and my ring finger on the 2nd string 5th fret. Everything I'm going to do is going to be on those 2 strings, 4th fret and 2nd fret. It's going to be this shape. Over here the 5th fret, which kind of makes it into a C chord. Move it 2 frets up, same shape, and haven't changed the fingerings at all. I'm on the 7th fret, and this is a D with all the textures. This is why I use this fingering, because I can just slide my middle finger to the 9th fret and add my pointer finger on the 2nd string 8th fret, and I'm getting a G chord. So the riff kind of starts. And I just finished that whole shape all the way back at the 1st fret and 2nd fret. And again, it's all on strings 4 and 2. Then I go 7th fret. I bar across all the strings with my pointer finger, and I'm going to add, it's sort of half of what the Keith Richard lick is. He'll do it this way. She's doing, just to get that classic blues kind of effect thing. So it's just the ring finger on the 4th string on the 9th fret here. And she's resolves it to an open string, open G strings. This is the Keith Richard lick. Back that pointer finger on the 1st string, on the 2nd string 1st fret, and middle finger on the 4th string 2nd fret. And there you have the intro. The verse. There it is. There's 2 halves to this verse. Let me break it down. The first half Starts on that D riff. Let me tell you about a friend of mine. He's a short order cook. That's where we kind of open to a G. And we move to a C. The bass player, I think, hits a C note, so it takes care of having to worry about making this sound like a perfect C chord. But we got that texture happening, so we got... Now, if you want, you can stay on this C and then jump all the way up to this D. I'm trying to kind of cut the distance a little bit, so I'll move. That's the next line of the phrase. So up to this point. Also the D again. And there you have that little segment. The second half starts on the open G. Same idea, only slightly different order of the chords. G, that C, and again I can stay on this C. I opt to move here so it's a shorter trip later on. This is the punchline of the song, Longing the Heart. Again, same kind of riff, D. That's the idea. Have the verse all together. There it is. Okay, so next section is that little even the stars come on at night and so on. And it goes on, the idea is to use sixth. And just like we used in the intro, only in a slightly different order. I'm going to start here with the G, so my pointer finger is on the 2nd string 8. My middle finger's on the 4th string 9th fret. I move to this D thing, basically again, the middle finger is what I'm anchoring everything around. Move the ring finger to the 7th fret, and I add the middle finger to the 7th fret, and I add the ring finger on the 2nd string 7th fret. Move that 2 frets back to get the C. And I resolve to basically this, or I can resolve to this too. I like this one better. Personally, I think that's more correct, but I could be wrong. I got basically 2nd string, 3rd fret. I think I like this one because it follows the melody. So I got an open G string. I got open G, that's C, 2nd string 1, 4th string 2, slide to the 2nd string 3, and resolve to a full C chord, and I use my ring finger here. This time I'm actually holding it only on 4 strings. You can do 5 if you want. It's not a big deal either way. And then we got a riff that, similar to what we had in the verse. It's back to the same one. You can do that with your ring finger since you're already there. I tend to switch, but it doesn't matter. And resolve with that blues riff. There it is. So here it is all together. There it is. Okay, so last little section that we have to go over is that little bridge. You and me, we're just like them. That little bit. I start here again. It's all 6th on the 2nd string and 4th string. This time I start with the ring finger and the pinky. Pinky on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. Ring on the 4th string, 3rd fret. And the reason I do this because it kind of saves me traveling and sliding, and makes sense to work it for the rest of the segment. On the recording, she might even be going from this chord directly to this chord. I like to add a little sort of suspended spot in the middle. So I start with the chord here. I was telling you, I just switch my pinky to the pointer finger on the 2nd string, 1st fret. Then I'll switch my ring finger to the middle finger on the 4th string, 2nd fret, and then open it up to the open G chord. I resolve this to this. This is an A7 with a little bit of sussing kind of sounds due to the open string. And I got that same 0-6 format. Ring finger on the 2nd string, 2nd fret. Middle finger on the 4th string, 2nd fret. I'm doing a little bit of an arpeggio picking where I'm picking on the thin strings from the thin one up, just to give it a little bit of a, what I call the waterfall effect. So that whole riff. Then we go from a G, open string G, to a C. I'm resolving here to a D chord, but I'm flipping the finger. I got my pointer finger on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, ring finger on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, and I'm leaving that 1st string open. I got a cool little D here. If you don't want to travel, that will work just fine. You might want to think about going back to the pointer finger at the 7th fret and doing that little bluesy riff. And so up to this point. Sorry. Then we repeat that whole phrase with a slightly different ending. Sorry. That's the resolution of that bridge that sends us back to. Again, that riff comes from the intro. tag that happens at the end of that bridge and also happens at the end of the song um, again, that sixth lick on the third fret, pinky on the second string third fret, ring on the fourth string third fret. A little bit of accenting, resolving to a C chord. Pointer finger on the second string first fret, middle on the fourth string second fret. And there you have that section. Those are all the sections. Enjoy it.